Hi, this is Denise.
Hey, this is Maggie.
Welcome to our podcast, Candor and Courage at Work.
Denise and I have known each other for a long time, a couple of decades, HR pros, and we thought it might be helpful if we got together and shared some of the things that we've learned along the way.
That's right, Maggie. Many struggle with being candid and being courageous, and we just want to use what we've learned to help you use those traits in your daily work life.
Here's hoping that makes you more successful. And here we go. Well, Denise, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I cannot believe it's 2026 already.
I've been planning for 2026 for a couple months now, so I don't know if I know what year it is.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. So if you write a check, in case listeners know what that is, it's a little paper document that, enables you to send money to other people.
Mm-hmm. Paper, not electronic.
Not electronic. Yeah, we joke about
electronic
that.
checks, right?
There are. I think whatever electronic device you're working with will save you from writing the wrong or reflecting the wrong year. But anyway, we'll see. So when we last met, we talked about high stakes courage to wrap up the year.
Right? That was a powerful episode.
I think so.
I could feel the tension of reliving that. And kudos to you for getting through it.
Yeah, thank you. I hadn't thought about that for a very, very long time. But as we progressed through creating and elevating Candor and Courage at Work, you did Candor 201, which when you did that, I felt the tension and could certainly then become much more empathetic when I was sharing my own story about being courageous.
Our listeners know we practice what we preach.
That's a fact. That's a fact. And that's the whole premise of why we're doing this, right? We want to help other professionals be more effective by living vicariously through some of our experiences. And that's no less true for today. We know next month we're going to be featuring our lucky Candor and Courage at Work winner who took us up on the opportunity in November to throw their hat in the ring and meet with us to talk about what their 2026 goals are. And we're looking forward to sharing that next month.
Absolutely. I can't wait to hear.
Yeah. In the meantime, we thought it'd be helpful to encourage everyone to really miss out on something right out of the gates this year. And what we want folks to miss out on is what's known as Quitter's Friday.
Okay. What is Quitter's Friday?
Quitter's Friday is well known now as the day that those New Year's resolutions just go away. So that means January 9th, whatever New Year's resolutions folks have made, they're just giving up on. Thinking about that, anticipating that, and certainly wanting to incorporate that into the conversation with our lucky listener, we thought we'd spend a little time today talking about how best to avoid Quitter's Friday. And one of the things that we know, when people think about setting goals, one of the common approaches to that are SMART goals.
Correct. The old acronym.
Yes. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. And in refreshing myself on that, because we do a little bit of research for every episode, just to have context and feel like we're sharing valuable information, I stumbled upon Mark Murphy's HARD goals: heartfelt, animated, required, and difficult.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Right.
Sorry, Mark.
Yeah,
Another Mark I'm apologizing to.
You have a pattern now.
I know. If your name is Mark, I'm going to apologize to you. So I can't wait to meet you.
Yeah.
No, I don't like difficult. I don't like hard. I feel like things are hard in this life. And when I don't want to endure hard, I want things to be easy.
Easy. Well, which is really remarkable because one of the folks that I know you're really passionate about and will be speaking with us about today is James Clear in Atomic Habits. And he espouses easy as one of the 4 laws of behavior change.
Okay.
So I thought all right, I love coming up with acronyms and what they mean because, after 3.5 decades in HR, isn't everything an acronym?
Yes.
But
You
so
need a dictionary or glossary of
of
acronyms,
acronyms,
so
right?
you don't embarrass yourself and use the wrong one in the
Right,
wrong situation.
right. So I came up with for easy, emotion driven, achievable. Now I borrowed that from Smart because it's good,
Like it?
sustainable,
Yes.
and yes.
Yes. Oh, I didn't know
Yes,
that.
yes, right? So that's easy, emotion driven, achievable, sustainable, and yes.
Yes, I completely agree with that because the emotion is what's going to tie us to the value of that goal.
Yes,
For us to achieve our goals, we definitely have to have a reason to do it. And if
yes.
it's not emotion driven, I don't know how that's going to resonate with you in those times that you need to recommit to that goal.
I'm sitting here nodding. I know I know listeners can't see that, but yeah, and that's it. So with that, I know that you're being a little vulnerable today and talking with us about something that you are specifically targeting and working on and want to share with us a couple of different foundational aspects of how you're enjoying successes or recognizing when you're running into obstacles. So I'm essentially going to turn it over to you.
Well, first of all, I want to start with I am that person that gave up on resolutions a long time ago because okay, I'm going to work out. I've got to work out. I got to be healthy. And I think I was ahead of Quitters Friday.
Gotcha.
It might have lasted 2 days into the new year, right?
Okay.
And so when I hear about resolutions, I always roll my eyes like, okay, that'll last how long for people? And so in this episode, and why we wanted to do this episode, we wanted our listeners and ourselves to have the benefit of really committing to something that is going to have high impact for us. We're going to talk more on the work side of things. Of course, there's always the personal side of things. But in my mind, I don't want to call it a resolution. I want to call it a revolution. And I think we've talked about that term
We sure
before,
did.
the revolution of kind versus nice. And
Right.
we actually got a listener that gave us some feedback that they liked that comparison, that dichotomy. So
Yes,
we'll definitely be talking about kind versus nice in future episodes this year.
we sure will.
But for this month, and especially for myself, I wanted to help our listeners kind of go through the process of how do I set a goal that is meaningful to me, that I can commit to, that's sustainable and achievable, and I can say yes to every day. And so the information I wanted to share with our listeners is that I think it might have been this time last year. I got some feedback from somebody that my habit of procrastination
Mm,
was not serving me well.
mhm.
And I love when people feel comfortable to give me candid feedback. And we've talked about that in prior episodes. But when it came from this person, I realized that the lifelong habit that I've had of procrastination was really costing me in a lot more different ways than I even had imagined. This person particularly shared with me it was affecting my brand, my reputation at work. And I think it would be fair to say that it's like, "Oh, she's great at this and this and this," but she has this horrible habit of turning things in last minute or late
Mhm.
and it not being the high quality work that I know she's capable of doing.
Wow.
And so I really had to sit with that and say, "Okay, all these years of winning through procrastination," right?
Yeah. Powering through.
No, I've shared with people how I was like, "Wow, it always pays off for me if I wait till the last minute.
Right.
This thing didn't happen, and so I didn't waste time working on that project because it fell through, you
Yeah,
know?"
yeah.
And I will share with you, this is one area where I'm still not where I need to be, but leaving to, go make an appointment and looking at the GPS and saying, "I can beat that time."
Oh.
So that's an area I need to work on. And if there's any law enforcement listening, please have grace on me you find me in your radar.
There you go. There you go.
But no, just sitting back and thinking through that and saying, is this who I want to be in this world? And I will share with you on a personal note that I have responsibilities in my life as an older person. I have octogenarian parents and I help care for them. And so that is an additional responsibility that I've had to take on recently. And so I have to make sure that I'm getting my personal life and my professional life handled. And it really dawned on me that while I got a payoff from the stress, of I'd made it, got the deadline,
Right.
From that payoff, I'm going to have these conflicting personal life responsibilities that may cost me, I can't get that done, or I'm going to have to stay up for 2 days straight to get everything done I need to get done. So my brand's already at risk. And now I can see the complications of my personal life responsibilities. And I'm thinking, I've got to do something.
Yep.
I've got to do something and I got to do it now.
Yep.
And so, I've always been a fan of Nick Saban, the coach or the former coach of the University of Alabama. And I have been a fan of Alabama. I'll be candid with you on that. But I liked Nick Saban's approach to coaching. And to me, it translated so easily into leadership. So for my football listeners who don't like Nick Saban or Alabama, I'm just going to offer to you, please listen to the message, not the messenger.
There you go.
Okay. Because, clearly based on results, his program called The Process has been helpful in achieving a lot of goals at that particular football program. And so how can I use some of those lessons in my own life? And like you mentioned, James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, I heard him speak at Global Leadership a couple years ago, the Global Leadership Summit. For those of you that are not familiar, you can go online. It's simulcast around the world every August and has a lot of very high quality speakers.
In August of last year, we caught Nick Saban.
Yes, we actually attended that summit together, albeit with our separate groups.
Right.
So, yes, and he spoke a lot about the process and things that I had already heard, but it was very helpful as I was working through my own process to hear that again and recommit to why I'm doing it and hear his lessons that help me keep going when I want to stop. So what I would say to you is the process, for those of you that aren't familiar, is not just looking at the goal, the overall goal of saying, I'm always going to be on time. Okay, that sounds great. How are you going to get there? And the process is breaking down that goal into the daily tasks or steps that you need to do, consistently every day in order to achieve that goal. So if you think about your own goals that you may have in your life, look at the end, because you want to see the end. You want to experience what that's going to feel like when you get to the end of the goal.
That's the emotion driven.
Correct. But don't become so overwhelmed by it or live in such a vague, fuzzy world where you don't know how to get there, and just keep your head down and focus on those daily tasks. And so for me, I just knew that I had to set a calendar and organize myself and put all of my dates in. And I had to build it out far enough in the advance of the goal,
right,
so that I had room for any problems or obstacles that'll come up.
Yep.
And obstacles will always come up.
They will.
Okay.
They will. Guaranteed.
And so Nick Saban talks in his process about accounting for contingencies, having a contingency plan for the obstacle that will come up. And so for me, in my personal life, some of those things are what I call the wild cards.
Yep.
You just don't know when something's going to crop up. You don't even know if work is going to say, hey, we need you to drop what you're doing and fly over here and handle this issue. So while I was enjoying kind of beating the clock, now I know that the stress of what will happen if I don't address those things earlier to account for the wild cards, my stress level is just going to jump up to something that might be detrimental to me and my health,
Right.
mental or physical.
Right.
And so, in the process, we have to set our plan. Okay. And I will tell you that with all resolutions, that, when you've done something and you've quit, because Quitter's Friday, right?
Quitter's Friday. Yep.
You know that, you know what that was like and you know how you felt.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're let down. Again, emotion.
Right. And I'm right back where I was if I don't pick up and keep moving forward, keep my head down and moving forward. So what I tried to do was for my own process or system, if you will, was to say, where did it come off the rails before?
Okay.
Anticipate that's going to happen again. And now how am I going to respond to that? And so Nick Saban talks about in his speech about feelings versus choice. Are you willing to do the things that you need to do, not what you feel like doing? So for me, I would be, I'm so tired. It's been a long day at work. I don't feel like working on this right now. So I'm just gonna go to sleep and I'm gonna get up at 2 in the morning and I'm gonna get it done then.
Right.
Okay. So
Right.
then that day was just exhausting because it was a day from 2 o'clock until 6 or longer. But now when I'm faced with that, oh, I'm tired, I automatically say, you're not going to bed. You're going to power through and get through this because you know that 2 o'clock doesn't feel good.
Yep.
It's an answer, but it's not the right one.
So you've identified an opportunity and a mechanism to overcome that temporary quit and are now doing something that makes it in whole more sustainable.
Yes. But I've anticipated that that's going to happen because I know me.
Yeah.
And so, and that's another thing too. You have to be real with yourself. You have to see things as they really are, not as you believe them to be. Be real with yourself. Be candid with yourself.
Yes.
And just say those are the things that I'm going to have to face, and be willing, if I want to get to the other side, to see the fruits like we've talked about with summoning the courage. I got to power through these difficult times. But I'll share one other thing with you. Part of my issue was I did not prioritize my goals. If you needed something from me, Maggie, I would set aside getting my goal done to help you.
Gotcha.
I would, hey, let me have this conversation with this person, building relationships. Maybe it wasn't a high value thing, but it just felt good at the time to reconnect with somebody at the expense of my goal. And so I really had to have a mind shift to guard my goals and say, this matters to me. I have to prioritize it. And therefore, I'll have to help Maggie another time, or I'll have to speak to this person another time because right now that feels good.
You saying that reminds me of the very same basis of advocating, taking action when you care about someone's well-being or development. And in this case, turning that care towards yourself.
Yes. It is the opposite of what I've talked about, but it's the most valuable for the long term, the long game, if you will.
Yeah, it is what the flight attendant says on every flight if the oxygen drops. It's putting the oxygen on yourself first.
Yeah. So we're going to have to, we're just going to have to prioritize ourselves and it sounds selfish, but I don't like to think of it as selfishness because I feel like people aren't comfortable. It's like hard. They're not comfortable with being selfish.
Right.
But I will share with you on the back end of this. Okay. So I'm about a year in, almost maybe. And I've changed my brand.
Yeah.
I have changed my mentality, and I've also changed how I view it. Now I view the win as getting things done early. And so this project or this meeting is coming up, and I don't have to worry about it because I've already done the legwork.
I love that.
I've already done it, and I have some contingency space in there, dates in there, so I'm much less stressful
Right.
about it, and I relish that. Now that's my high
Yeah.
more than beating the clock.
Yeah. So that is something you can say yes to every day.
Yes. I'm gonna have to write this. I'm gonna definitely need easy written down for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're gonna have the wins, and I think you need to celebrate. I think you definitely need to pat yourself on the back,
Right.
and say, you know what, you're doing really well here.
Yes.
Okay, but just don't rest on your laurels and think I can take my foot off the gas. I can alter my system. I can alter my plan of my daily tasks. Just recommit to those things every day. And on the flip side, there are going to be struggles. There are going to be times when you're going to really need that contingency time that you built into the system.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't meet the goal, and I had a personal goal recently that I'd been really working hard to achieve, and I wasn't seeing the results, and I blew up. I'm just like, I'm working so hard. I don't understand. Blah. So you know what? I just said to myself, I have to take a pause here. I vent it. I'm going to have a pity party. I call it a 1 hour pity party.
Perfect.
Where I can just say, nope, life isn't fair. Oh,
Right.
And then tomorrow I'm right back on my plan.
Yeah.
Because I know that's the real win, is to get back on. But
yes.
Saban calls it relief syndrome.
Okay.
When you feel like, all right, I won, I can kick back,
Take my foot off the gas and
Yes.
forget the system and the process and everything because
Right.
I've done it. Wait, you won't do it again if you don't
Right.
continue to follow
But
it.
the negative side now, having that emotion. So you see, I was emotional about that goal.
Sure.
But calming down and just seeing things as they are, I try to visualize there is a physical object in front of me, like right in my path, in front of my feet.
Mm-hmm.
And so rather than sit there and rail against, why is this here? It's keeping me from my goal. I just have to kind of shift into a calm mindset and say, okay, how am I going to deal with this? And again, if we can plan on the front side how we're going to respond in those emotional times, it can be far less emotional when we get to the point of saying, okay, I'm going to take a step to the side and keep going forward.
Well, and those things and hearing them again remind me of beginning with the end in mind. We talked about Covey, and certainly the definition of responsibility that I learned from Covey and choosing how you respond.
Correct.
And we've talked about off and on the value of calm and consistency. So it's weaving all of those things together. I have seen the change in you this year.
You hear me talk differently, don't you?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I have seen that, and I knew what was underlying that, and have seen when those wild cards have popped up, that they don't cause you to deviate from being successful in getting done what needs to get done.
Right.
So congratulations.
I have a new brand. I'm persistent.
Yes. Yes.
I'm on time. I don't procrastinate. I am persistent. So
yeah, that's awesome.
I think the only other suggestion that I would have for our listeners is find that accountability piece. You've got the consistency and you're doing it, but I have shared with Maggie, my professional goal of being a non-procrastinator, and so it was easier for me to recommit to that because I don't want to look foolish to say, oh, what is it? What time? What time is it? Quitter's Friday. It lasted for 2 weeks. So it does, you do need that system by a mirror, if you will, to, make sure that you commit to what you're doing.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to end on this.
All right.
Okay? So as I'm researching, Saban and Clear and other authors, there was a piece about courage. And it's the courage to take just the first step towards your goals.
Yep.
The courage. And again, it's just take a step, just act. And once you do that, you can find the momentum you need to keep building on it. Don't worry about being perfect. Don't worry about the time is right to do this. The time is now. Take that step, have your courage, act, and then enjoy the fruits of your labors.
Wow, Denise, thank you. What a powerful combination of messaging, practical steps that folks can take, a testament to the impacts of living that, and certainly a great service that that person did in being candid with you
Yes.
about how that habit of being a procrastinator was impacting you negatively.
Yes, and for our listeners, have hope, come up with your plan, your goal, your vision, commit, have your plan, stick to your plan. And I really want to hear from you guys on what you did in 2026. We talked in our LinkedIn post about, what are the questions what are the things you want to answer or get done in 2026? So we look forward to getting that feedback on how successful you are. And hopefully today's episode is hopeful in that regard.
That was the intent. Hopefully that is the impact. And we certainly look forward to sharing with everyone next month what our lucky listener is doing to be successful in 2026.
Yes. So Happy New Year again.
Happy New Year.
Thank you for joining us today for Candor and Courage at Work.
We hope you found some inspiration and encouragement in today's episode.
For more information or to connect with us, visit our website, candorandcourageatwork.com, and be sure to download future episodes wherever you listen.